All right, let's get right into it. If you're a fan of any detective show, I mean any of them, you've probably heard about the Mind Palace. This huge imaginary library inside a genius's head where they can store and pull up any piece of information they want. It's a really cool idea, right? But is that how our minds actually work? Today, we're going to tear down that myth and explore the beautiful, kind of messy, and honestly way more interesting reality of human memory. It all kicks off with this one truly chilling line from BBC's Sherlock. The villain, Charles Augustus Magnussen, is this master blackmailer. He's got dirt on everybody. And for the whole season, everyone, Sherlock included, is convinced he has this massive, physical vault stuffed with secrets. But then, in the big finale, he drops the bombshell. The vault? It's all in his head. And right there, that moment, it sets up this fascinating contrast. You've got two bona fide geniuses, Sherlock and Magnussen, both with these incredible memories. But the show shows us their minds in completely different ways, which it turns out leads to a brilliant question about how all of us think. So check this out. The difference is night and day. Magnussen's mind is visualized as this cold, static library, a vault, right? Just neat, organized files. It's an archive. But Sherlock's mind? Oh, it's a dynamic, chaotic web. He's all about connections based on patterns, smells, tiny little details. It's way less like a library and a whole lot more like a constantly shifting mind map. And this is where we jump from fiction into some real, hard cognitive science. Which of these two models is actually closer to the truth? Do our brains work like Magnussen's rigid, super organized library, or are they more like Sherlock's chaotic, interconnected network? So let's really break this down. We're going to look at that classic model, the Mind Palace, and then we're going to explore a much more scientifically accurate model, one that might feel a lot more familiar to how you actually experience your own thoughts. Now, the Mind Palace thing, it's not totally made up. It's actually based on a real ancient mnemonic technique called the method of loci. And the idea is pretty simple. You pick a place you know, like the back of your hand, say your childhood home, and you mentally place the things you need to remember in specific spots. To remember them, you just take a mental stroll through the space. And believe me, it's incredibly effective for memorizing stuff like grocery lists. But here's the catch. When it comes to dynamic, real-time problem solving, the method of loci is kind of a detour. Think about it. You have to take this abstract idea, turn it into some weird image, place it in your mental palace, and then go back and reverse the whole process to get the idea back out. It's this whole extra layer of translation. Great for a memory competition, sure, but not so great when you need an idea right now. Okay, so now let's look at a totally different picture. A much more accepted model in cognitive science is the semantic network. See, in this model, memory isn't a place at all, it's a web. Every single concept, we'll call them nodes, is connected to tons of others. And there's this theory called spreading activation, where thinking of one node, like dog, automatically sends these little pulses of energy to all the related nodes like bark, pet, and loyal. Let's make this feel a little more real. The source for this whole explainer shared a great personal story. As a kid, they learned two separate facts. One, the Earth rotates on its axis, and two, it revolves around the sun. The textbook also mentioned the Earth was a sphere, but their brain just kind of ignored that part at first. And boom, this shows you exactly how the network functions. That input, rotation, didn't require some trip to a mind palace. Nope. It instantly lit up a whole cluster of intuitive, related ideas about stability and movement. And that led to this immediate, almost unconscious conclusion. For something to spin smoothly like that, it has to be a sphere. That's spreading activation. It's a direct, intuitive leap, no detour required. This network model gets even more interesting when we put our own brains up against the brains we're building right now, artificial intelligence. Both operate as networks, but the differences between them, well, that's what truly makes us human. Okay, so this is where it gets really crucial. An AI's neural network is pure math. It's just code and numbers trying to get a better score, to minimize a mathematical error we call loss. It's all driven by probability. The human brain, it's a wet, biological, chemical system. Our learning is driven by things like survival, emotion, and this deep search for meaning. And it's profoundly influenced by our hormones.
And that is the absolute key. Our memories aren't just these clean, neutral data points. They are weighted by our biochemistry. The adrenaline you get from a thrilling moment, the cortisol from a stressful one, these chemicals basically act like highlighters, marking certain connections in our network as way more important. A memory tied to a strong emotion becomes armor-plated, making that connection faster and stronger.
So this brings us to our final and maybe the most important idea of all. All this biochemical interference, the biases, the emotional triggers, the fact that we misremember things, it might seem like a bug in our system. But what if it's actually our most essential feature? This quote just nails it. That so-called noise isn't a flaw that needs to be fixed. It's the very thing that makes our intelligence human. It's what allows for creativity, those weird, amazing leaps between a childhood memory and a complex mathematical concept. It's what allows for empathy, feeling a connection to someone else's story because it activates our own emotional memories. And that's the ultimate difference, isn't it? An AI is designed to find the most mathematically probable answer, the most accurate answer. But our brains? They're different. They have evolved to find the most meaningful answer, the one that matters to our survival, to our story, to our place in the world. So the next time you find yourself lost in a memory or making some strange connection between two totally different ideas, just remember that you're not accessing a cold, sterile file cabinet. You're navigating a living, breathing, beautifully messy network. And that mess isn't a bug in the system. It's the source code of what makes you human.